Hello and welcome to the Quest for Games. I'm Jerry, and in this video I'm going to do a how to play and then my final thoughts for a 1 to 4 player game, Delivery Witches, distributed by Undigital Games, I think, and Eric Rodriguez, I think, is the designer. So Delivery Witches, if you're familiar with Mika and the Witch's Mountain, which is a video game, you probably kind of understand what this game is already because you're a young witch that's been taken by her mom to see a teacher, and the teacher basically knocks you off the mountain, and in the process you break your broom. So now you have to do odd jobs or deliveries to make enough money to pay to have your broom repaired. And each time you pay to have your broom repaired, you can go up a little bit higher on the mountain until you finally get to the top and get back to the teacher so that she can teach you more about how to be a witch. But in the process, you learn a little bit about how to be a witch. The other thing that I would say that you might like, if you like that, is there's the Ghibli Studios show or movie, Kiki's Delivery Service, which this reminds me of a little bit. You're running around doing deliveries. So what is the game and how does that work? It's basically a pick up and deliver game with a mechanic to allow you to improve where you can go and how you can do the deliveries as you go along. The final goal is to try to get badges for doing the best deliveries or doing the most of a certain kind. Once that happens, you go to a victory point track and the person with the most victory points wins. So with that said, let's get this to the table and I'll start to teach. Hello and welcome to the table. So I'm going to set up Delivery Witches for a 3-player game. We have decided that we're going to use the white, pink, and blue witches for our markers. So those witches go into the witch house down here at the bottom in the middle. Next thing we have to do is take the delivery cards, which let me show you what one of those look like. That's a delivery card. So there's delivery cards. They have different colored backs. I have to shuffle these delivery cards up and place them out approximately in their areas. So these belong with the bottom. Then I have a set that have a green back on them, and they belong to the middle section. Then I have this set that have a blue back on it. And you'll notice these have a blue back on them, and you'll notice that each deck gets a little bit smaller as we go up the mountain. I should show you the picture of the mountain. So here's the player board that I had to put out first, and there's the bottom of the mountain. So we're going to climb up to the top, and I'll change my camera angle when I start to do the teach. But I tried to get it zoomed in so we could see what we were doing. So each player has their player board, and they will have a large cube, which they will put on the 4, which is how many actions they can take when they go to do their actions. At least in the beginning, they're going to start with 4. So we have 3 player boards, 1 for each player. I'm going to have to set these off camera. I'll try to get them back on camera when I start to teach. So the next thing we set up for the players is each one of them has a smaller cube than the one that's on their main board, and we set one of each of their colored cubes on the bottom of this track to keep track of their masteries. And then I also put these tokens that match the top of each of the board on top of each one of the boards. I have a central supply of crystals. Those are single crystals. These are the 5s. These are 1 money, and that's 5 money. And then there's happy or sad delivery tokens that I have in these containers that, again, I'll keep off camera and bring them back as needed during the teach. You'll have to separate these smaller tiles by their backs, a green, a white, and I don't know, dark or black. And you also notice there's a little X on here. If I'm not setting up for a 3-player game, if I'm setting up for like a 2, then that X is telling me that that one should not be introduced or shouldn't be put onto the board. So I take those and I shuffle them up and I put them out onto the board face up. So I put all the tiles out onto the board. And if you look at these spaces, this one has a brown border on it. This one has a yellow. That tells me that I'm supposed to use the brown ones only if I'm playing a 3 or 4-player game. If I'm playing a 2-player game, then I don't put anything in the brown space. And while I'm talking about that, you also notice there's a little blue path here that says 2 players. That little blue path is not allowed to be used if you're playing more than 2 players. So, and they recommend that you set them up like this at least the first time you play. There's a picture in the book that tells you how to arrange these tiles so that they look like this. But after a few plays and you get used to it, we found that you can shuffle them and just put them out there at random. And now we have the water and the mountain tiles that we have to put out. For your first game, they recommend that you put them out like this to match what's in the book. And so now we have the board set up. Now I have to start to set up these metals. And all of these metals will be set up the same way. I will just show you on the backs of this broom. The metals have a 3, 5, 1, and 2. Every one of these has that same set of backs. So for a 3-player game, we're supposed to set it up so 5's on top, then 3, and then 1. And the 2 doesn't get used. So we set them all up the same way. 5 on top, 3, and then 1. And the 2 doesn't get used. There is one exception to that. This tile, every one of them is a 10-point tile. Then you shuffle this deck of ability cards and you place out 3 cards from that deck. And you pick first player by saying, who's the person who has most recently received a package? But that's the setup, and we're now ready to play. Okay, so that I can start to teach, I zoomed out a little bit. Hopefully you can still see things okay. One of the things we have to decide when we start to play the game is what actual metals are we going to use. So for your first game, the rule book recommends that you use this setup of metals and you don't have these 4 metals in the game. And then at later times when you're playing the game, you can start to swap these metals in for these, or I think the rules say you should only have 4. You always should have these, and you should only have these 2. You can swap in 2 of these and replace these 2, but we've actually played games, which I didn't see as a problem, with more than just 2 additional metals. We've played actually with all of them. While I'm talking about the metals, let me go through what each one of them are. This set, all these 3 right here, are delivery tokens. So once you've gotten, those are delivery metals. And once you've delivered to each one of those symbols on the house, and you'll notice that they correspond to symbols on the houses in either this tier, or this tier. So once you've delivered to each different type of house in an area, and you get one of these badges, you take that badge and you put it on your board in one of these 4 spots. You'll notice that there's only 4 spots, and that's because once somebody gets 4 badges, that's the end of the game. You'll also notice that there is special spots for the 2 broom upgrades. Those are not badges. Those are just upgrades. This bird is a badge, just like these are badges. Let's continue on talking about that. This one is that you've delivered 4 packages to a house of the same color. This one is you have all 3 of your upgrades. This one is you reach the top of the mountain and paid the 15 gold to get it. This one is that you have 20 gold at some point in time during the game. This one's that you have 20 crystals at some point in time during the game. This one is you've reached the top of one of the mastery tracks. And this one is you've successfully delivered a time-sensitive package. And we'll talk more about those here in a minute. So let's get back to talking about how you play the game. On my turn, I can take up to 4 actions. That's why this cube's sitting at 4. So as the Blue Witch, I can take up to 4 actions. Each time I take an action, I slide this over. So let's talk about what those actions are. I can take my witch and I can move my player token, and I can move to a spot that's within 1 spot of the one that I'm in. So the Blue Witch, because there's a path down this way, could go down, could go up, could go to this house or that house. 1 action to do the move. Another action I can take is I can take another action to accept the delivery. So I take the card off the top of this deck and I flip it over and I put it right here next to my player board to say that's the delivery I'm doing. Let's talk about what this delivery card looks like, though. It's telling me that I want to deliver to that greenhouse, that I can't go through water, and if I deliver this successfully, I can choose either the apple or the urn, I guess, so the red or the green mastery, move up 1 in that, and I get 1 crystal and 2 gold if I successfully deliver this card. So we're going to put it up here. And if you notice on the board, so let me put this one in here so that maybe you can see better. I put it here on my player board so that I can start sliding it up to say, this is how many turns I've taken to do that delivery. And I know we found that now if I have multiples out here and I start sliding this one up, I bump into this one if it's not sliding up. So you really should start from the top and work your way down. That way they won't bump into each other. And since I'm talking about timed deliveries, this delivery has a timer on it that says it has to be delivered in 4 turns. So every time, I have this at the top, but every time I take a movement action, I have to move this up. And I keep moving it up until it goes to past the 1. And once it's gone past the 1, then I know it's taken me more than 4 turns to deliver this, and I didn't make it underneath my timing. And we'll talk about what that means in a few minutes. So what else can I do on my turn? I can do an upgrade. Well, I don't have the money to do an upgrade, but I could buy one of these upgrades for crystals. And again, at the top of the board, you will see that it says it's going to cost me 5 crystals for this upgrade, 8 for this upgrade, and 12 for this upgrade. So each time I upgrade, it costs me a little bit more crystals. And that lets me choose one of these cards. And I'll go over those cards in a minute. The other thing I can upgrade is my broom. I have to have this first level broom that costs me 5 gold to be able to get out of the bottom and up into the second tier. And I have to have this second level broom that costs me 10 gold to be able to get from the middle to the top tier. How do I do upgrades? Well, I have to be on this space. And you'll see that it shows this little witch's broom on the house. There's one up over here too. So I have to be in that space. So if I wanted to do an upgrade, I'd have to move back to that space. But I don't know that I want to move back to that space right now because I can't do an upgrade. But I'd have to be here to be able to do an upgrade. Let's finish this player's turn. So I can move over this way to this greenhouse. That cost me 1 more thing. So I've taken 1 action, 2 actions to get the delivery, 3 actions to go to that house. That house happens to be a greenhouse, and I didn't go through any water to do the delivery. So I've successfully completed this delivery. So I set this delivery off to the side to say that I've successfully completed it. I get 1 crystal and 2 money for doing that delivery. Because it says I can do a green or a red mastery, I'm going to upgrade the blue player's green mastery. Once that mastery gets to this level, you get you get 2 crystals or 2 gold, depending upon which mastery you upgrade. As the blue player, I think I'm going to stop my turn now because I've done what I can do. I could move back to the place to go get another delivery, but I can't get another delivery right now because I don't have enough points. I could move back there, but I wouldn't be able to pick up a delivery yet. So I'm going to stop the blue player's turn to kind of show something in a second here. You'll notice that to do the delivery, it didn't cost me an action. I was able to do the delivery without taking an action. So now let's take the pink player's turn. And the pink player is going to move down here to go, that takes 1. They're going to do an action to get a delivery. So they get a delivery and they put it on their board. Their delivery says they've got to go to the blue house that has a star on the top of it. And they actually do have a time limit. They have to do it in 4 moves. So now we're going to go take the white witch's turn. So she will spend 1 again to go here. She will take a delivery, and her delivery says, can't go through a mountain or water, has to go to green and orange, but doesn't have a time limit on it. So I'm going to put her off camera because I don't have enough table space. She wants to go do a green delivery. Well, there's a green house right here, but that witch is already on that house, so she can't go there. She also wants to do an orange delivery. Well, she can't go through the water to get to the orange because her contract says don't go through water, don't get my package wet. She could theoretically go 1, 2, but she can't go through that player there. This player is essentially blocking her from this house and that house. So she needs to try to go somewhere else. Doesn't have a time, so that's okay. She's taken her 2. She's got 2 moves left. So she'll move 1, 2 to this greenhouse, which lets her deliver the first one. And I'll bring that back over here. I'll put it over here so we can see what I'm doing. So she was able to deliver to the greenhouse. So I'm going to put a smiley face on the greenhouse because she didn't break any of the rules and she delivered to the greenhouse. And that way she can remember that she delivered to the greenhouse, but she took two turns, so she's done. Her turn's done. She can't move anymore. But that's how I remember that I was actually able to do the green delivery and it was okay. If I had to go through the waterfall to get to the orange delivery, which there's an orange one right here, so I won't. But if I had to, I might put the frowny face there. And so let's talk about what happens if that happens. She still did the delivery. She just didn't meet the criteria because one of these 2 things happened. She went through water, she went through a mountain, or she didn't do it in time. And any one of those cases, you put the frowny face one there. Still did the delivery, still get credit for the delivery. What happens is you don't get to pick one of these masteries and move your token up on the mastery track. That's what happens if you don't successfully if you don't meet all the criteria over here when you do the delivery. And we do have a set of chips that are 2-sided. It has the smiley face on one side and the frowny face on the other side. And I want to reiterate, if she would have done that orange delivery, she would have still gotten credit for the orange delivery. So she would have still been advancing towards being able to get this medal, but she would not have been able to advance herself up on this track if she went through water. And I think that's the basics of a turn. You can't move through another player. You can't hop another player normally. Deliveries don't cost you anything to do the actual delivery. When you want to do an upgrade, you have to be on this tile or this tile. So this upgrade, which it's in the book, so you can see it there, but that upgrade means you can hop. So the pink player would have been able to hop over. It would still take 1-2 movement points, but if they had that upgrade, they could hop over. This one lets you take one more action. So you always start out with, you add 5 to your action total. This one gives you 2 coins, 2 additional money for your packages. This one gives you 2 additional crystals for your packages. And there's one other one that says that you get to ignore. This one you get to ignore the mountain or water restrictions. And this one says you get to draw 3 cards. When you're drawing a delivery card, you get to draw 3 and choose one. And that one says you get to do the draw twice. This card says that you don't have to pay action to pick up a new delivery. And this upgrade allows you to move another player's pawn if they're in an adjacent space or meeple. So the pink player, if they had that upgrade, they'd be able to move the white player like back here and then move through if they couldn't hop over. Okay, so that's all the upgrades. Let me do one more turn real quick just to show you one more thing, and then I think I'll fast forward to close to the end. So for player 1, they have 1 point left. So when they get their new turn, which is their turn now, they will move this cube over 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they have 5 actions this turn. If they had saved 2, you'd move it up 1, 2, 3, 4, and now they have 6, and so on. You can't go up past 8. So if you totally skip your turn and then try to go 1, 2, 3, 4, that's okay. You can. You've got 8 movement this turn, but you can't get it to go up any higher than 8. So the blue player would have had 5 actions, right? So the blue player could say they're going to go back to here. They're going to pick up a delivery and put it down. This one's timed. They need to deliver to a purple house within 4 moves. So it took them 1 to move to there, 1 to pick it up, and then 1, 2, 3, and that's all of their movement points. And they delivered this one. So they had drawn this delivery card. They just delivered it in time. They can move up on the green or the orange track, mastery track. They're going to go up on the green mastery track. Oh, they got up here to this level. That means they get 2 crystals for making it up to there. They also get 2 crystals for that delivery, and they get 1 money for that delivery. I'm going to fast forward just to show you what it would be like a little bit here. I'll take the pink player and I'm going to give them, they don't have it, but I'm going to give them 5 money so that I can just show you this. The pink player gets 5 movement. The pink player can't go over top of the white player because the white player's in the way and they don't have the right kind of an upgrade to do that. But they're trying to get to here, so they can go 1, 2, 3, 4. That took 1, 2, 3, 4 of their turns. Now that they're in here, they can take a 5th action, which is their final action, spend their 5 money, and get their upgraded broom. And the upgraded broom goes right here on their board. It doesn't go down here in this area. It goes right here. So they now have their upgraded broom and they can go to this area to start to do deliveries. And I contrived that a little just to show you how that would work. If the white player, let's say, had 5 crystals, they could move into here, which would take them, they only have 4. So they could move into there in 1 turn. More than 1 person can occupy this space. They could then use another point, so now they're down to 2, and spend all their crystals to buy one of these upgrades. let's just say they buy this upgrade. They spent the 5. They put that upgrade right there. And this says they get 1 extra gold and 1 extra crystal every time they do a delivery. And they still have 2 movement points left. Blue player has delivered to a purple and a green house. So they would like to try to find a delivery card. I have to flip a new one of these over. They would probably like to find a delivery card that would take them to an orange or a blue house so they can get their badge. The white has delivered to both an orange and a green, and the pink has delivered to a blue. So, and that's the way things go. You will just keep moving around, trying to do deliveries, moving up on this. When the blue player got up to the middle row, they got the 2 plus they got this token. So that token needs to stay with them. If anybody passes them on this track, then they get to take this token from them. Once you're up at the top up here, now nobody can pass you, so nobody can take it from you. But for right now, if the white player had decided to go up green, and let's say they went up 3 green, they would take the token from the blue player, and it would be their token now. I think I've covered just about everything. Let me fast forward a little bit and come back to you and show you the last couple of turns of the game, and then we'll do final scoring. Okay, welcome back to the table. We're almost ready to finish. Let me get you caught up to where we are in the game. The blue player has just finished this card on their last turn, which gave them 3 colors in the top layer, top area. They have all of their upgrades, so they got the badge for all of their upgrades. They were successfully able to deliver 4 different colors in each of the 2 bottom areas, so they have the medals for those 2. They've also upgraded all their brooms, otherwise they wouldn't have been able to be up here. They are at the top of the masteries on the apple, and they're at the top, so nobody can take it away from them. The pink player has gotten themselves to the top of the mastery in blue and in orange. So they have the blue and the orange tokens, the package and the envelope, and they're at the top, so nobody can take it from them. On their last turn, they were able to complete this delivery, which gave them 1 of each color in the middle area. They got the medal for the 1 of each color in the middle area, and you can't see that on their board, but they got stuck down in the bottom. They did an awful lot of orange deliveries trying to get to the medal at the bottom, and they finally gave up when they realized that they were falling pretty far behind. The white player has all of their upgrades, so, and you can't see them, they're off camera, sorry. So they've gotten the 4, they've gotten the 1 for the 3 upgrades. They also were able to get the badge at the bottom down here, the medal at the bottom down here for delivering everything. Have upgraded both of their brooms so they can get up to this middle area, and they just decided they didn't get the badge for the middle here. They just decided they're going to come up top here because the blue person's way out in the lead and they need to do something. So it's now the blue player's turn. And so the blue player has a choice. The blue player has 3 badges. They can take it's their turn, so they get 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have 5 movement this turn. They could go down here and say, I'm going to get another card and try to get the badge for the top area up here, but they'd have to do 3 deliveries. They could also just say, I'm going to do 1, 2 movement, and I'm going to buy this bird and put it in my last medal. I think what the blue player is going to do is just go take a look. So they'll go here and say, what kind of card do I get? Now they get to pick 3 cards. It doesn't cost them an action. It costs them 1 action to go to that spot. But because of their upgrade, it doesn't cost them an action. They need a dark blue delivery. In the 3 cards that they got, none of them have a dark blue delivery on them. So they have to pick one of them. So they'll go ahead and pick the red one. And these 2 go to the bottom of the deck because they chose not to take those. So they're going to go ahead now with another movement. They're going to go move to this red house, which lets them deliver this one and allows them to move up the red track. They're already at the top, or move up the green track. And they can, but the white, it doesn't help them any because the white's already there. They can't steal that from the white anymore. And they get 1 crystal and 3, but then these 2, so they get 5 gold for that. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on their 5th, they're going to pay for the upgrade for this thing, for the bird. That's going to cost them 15. So they paid to 15, and now they have all 4 of their badges. So we're at end game. The blue player can finish their turn. They just did. They don't have any more movement left. So there's really nothing the blue player can do. They did complete that delivery. So now it's the pink player's turn. The pink player doesn't have her broom, but has enough money. So the pink player is going to take 1, 2 of their movement, and they have got 7 right now. So 1, 2 movement takes them back down to the 5. They're going to spend 10 gold to buy their broom upgrade. They have plenty of crystals, so they're going to spend their 12 crystals. That was one action to buy the broom upgrade. One more action to spend these crystals to buy another upgrade, and I don't know that it matters which upgrade they buy. Yep, they can buy any one of them. They can't have the same upgrade. You can't have the same upgrade. Certain upgrades you can't have twice. Like the 3 cards, you can't have that twice. You can't have the additional money and wind up getting 4 instead of 2. So, but that gave her 4, so she can take this upgrade finally and get some points for that. What's she going to do with her last? Well, let's go here to get one more delivery out of the green area. It's blue. That's going to help her get the final that badge if she can deliver the blue. And she's got to deliver it inside of 4. But there's the blue right now, and she's got the thing that says she can ignore this. So 1, 2 movement. That gives her, she's still got 1 movement left. Delivery doesn't cost her anything, so she's got that delivery. That means she's delivered all 4 different kinds of packages in the middle area. So that's this medal. So she can now get that medal. And then she gets 4 crystal because of her upgrade. She gets 4 crystal because of her upgrade, and she gets 2 money. Now the white player, they have 5 movement. They can hop over somebody, but they don't do that. And in their last thing here, they bought that same look at 3 cards and pick 1. So, but they did that and they got this card, and they haven't done any deliveries on this card yet. So they've got a gray, a red, and a blue to deliver to. So let's see. They can deliver to the blue here. Let me leave the card over here so you can see. They're going to deliver to the blue there. Then they need to deliver to a gray and a red. They don't want them to go through water, but she can go through the mountains. So 1, 2, 3 more. Lets her deliver to the gray. And then 1 more lets her deliver to that red. And so this delivery is finished. She can move up on a track of any one of the tracks, but it doesn't really matter right now for her which track she moves up, because she's already gotten the rewards from all the tracks. And she's at the top of this one. So I don't know. I'll just move her up the red one here. She gets 5 crystal, but she's got the upgrade, so she gets 6 crystals. And she gets 5 gold, but she's got that upgrade, so she gets 1 extra gold. So we're done. That's it. Everybody's had their turn. This is the person that triggered, the blue person triggered it. So everybody else gets one more turn. If the pink person had triggered it, then the white and the blue would get one more turn. It goes around until you get back to the person who triggered. So let's talk about how we do final scoring. First thing we have to do is count up the number of packages on our cards. So this card actually has 3 packages on it. So they've done 18 deliveries. The white player's done 18. So right now, both of the two of them have the same number at 18. The pink player's done 16. We got 18, 18, and 16. The next thing that we would do is look at any undelivered packages that they might have on the sides of their boards, but nobody had any undelivered packages. So it's delivered packages, but not delivered cards. So if you had like this card and you were sitting like this with one delivered and one undelivered, so you didn't have the actual package delivered, you'd get 2 points for that and minus 1 point for every frowny. If you had a frowny face on it, you would get minus 1 point for that. But nobody has that. So then the next thing we look at is the badges. So the blue player, we flipped all these tiles over, all their medals and the broom upgrades. So the blue player has their 18 plus 29, which is 47. So the white player has their 18 plus 20, 10, 24. So 18 plus 24, which is 42. That's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. The pink player had 16 plus 10, 11. So 16 plus 11, they're at 27. So then the next thing we look at is the mastery tokens, and blue players got 3, so they're now at 50. The white player has 1, so they're at 45, and the pink player had 2, so they're at 33. And then we look at how many crystals and the money they had. So for each 3, they get 1. So our final totals is 59 for blue, 54 for white, and 35 for pink. I set them up in the right order. I don't know. Okay, so that's it for how to play and final scoring. Let's go on to final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts for Delivery Witches. Build quality. The wooden meeples and the wooden cubes are really nice. It's a nice thick board. These mastery boards are really nice and thick. The player boards are really nice and thick. And the badges that you get are also cardboard, nice and thick. The chips for the money and crystals, they're also nice thick cardboard. And the crystals are nice plastic crystals. Cardstock is a nice cardstock, and it's got that, I think they call that linen finish. But the cardstock is really nice. I do have some moisture problems in my house, and sometimes cards will bow or bend on me, and these have not. So I think the build quality is really good. Pros and cons. Pros. It does follow the theme of the Miki and Witch Mountain. It also feels a lot, like I said, like Kiki's Delivery Service. So my granddaughter and some of my grandkids who liked the game. It's a pretty simple pickup and delivery. So it's nice entry for pickup and delivery. I have a bunch of other pickup and delivery games that have more complications to them. And the badge system works out pretty well. I think those are all really nice. It's put together well. I have not ran into any problems playing it. There is a little bit of pushing. I'm not saying this is a con. I'm still in the pro section. There is a little bit of, oh, I'm blocking this other person. So there's a little bit of that in the game for people who enjoy doing that. I didn't mind it. If I get blocked, it's oh, okay, I'm blocked. I got to figure out another way around. I don't know that I actually try to block anybody, but you can, that whole thing of blocking and then getting a power up to let you jump the blocks. The waterfalls in the mountains add some more variety to, oh, I can't go through that. No, this delivery doesn't matter. I can go through that. So I think that's all, the way the game's all put together, I think it's really good. Cons. There is a bit, for a con, there is a bit of a swingy nature to this. In the game, you saw that when I went through the points, the white and the blue player were pretty close. I mean, 59 to 54, that's not too big of a gap. But then the pink player is then at 35. And that seems to happen to me a bit when playing with people. Some people get stuck down at the bottom trying to get that first medal and don't give up and go forward fast enough. And I kind of did that on purpose because I've seen that happen where people get stuck down in trying to get that badge at the bottom and they never really get to it, which puts them behind. So there's some strategy in there, and maybe that's not truly a con, but there you can see some gaps in some players who really get it, get higher scores than other players who get stuck in spots. And that's not much of a con, but that's probably the only con that I have. My score. I'm doing things on a 1 to 10 scale. I would put this at an 8. It's a good game. I really like it. It's not one that I probably will put on the table with everybody, but it is one that I will put on the table for the right audiences, especially younger ones. I think the game says 8 and up. I believe I could probably play it with people a little bit younger than that. We just have to be careful about how we play with them. So I'm putting it at an 8 because I'm recommending it. I recommend it for an audience that has the right type of people. If I have a crowd that's trying to do a strategy game, I'm not sure I'd put it down at the table. But if people are looking for a light pickup and delivery, I'd suggest this one. What might you like? Well, like I said, it's a light pickup and delivery. So if you like that mechanism of going to a spot, picking a card, and then figuring out how I'm going to do those deliveries, I think you'll like this game. If you like the idea of being able to get upgrades, if you like the first person to a goal gets a little bit higher reward, which is how these medals work, I think you'll like this game. Oh, I was supposed to be using the track over on the side instead of my piece of paper. What might you not like? There is no real player interaction. You can't stop a player. So if one player is getting way out in the lead, there's nothing you can do to hold them back. So if you're the kind of person that really wants that, no, I'm gonna do something to stop them because they're getting too far in front of me, there really isn't any way to do that in this game. The only thing you can do is push yourself a little harder to try to catch up to them. And I don't know. I think that's the only, if you don't like the theme, then you wouldn't like the game. The theme is very embedded. So I think that's it. As always, my channel is not sponsored. I do these for the fun of it. If you would like this video, if you would like it, that it would help me out. If you subscribe to my channel, that would help me also. And with all that said, thanks for watching. Have fun playing games. Keep playing games, and I'll see you next time. Bye.